Jesus loved children. Do you notice when they brought the children to him, he touched them, physical contact, and he prayed for them? That's what we as parents and grandparents need to be doing for these young people. We need to be embracing them, being an example for them. One of the great problems in so many homes is that the mother and father are not a great influence or impact on their children because there's hypocrisy in the home. So then the children become bitter and confused about Christianity. And it's really important that if you have a godly home, thank God for it. That you're praying with your babies, that you're laying hands on them. That the father is taking the responsibility and leadership of his home as the spiritual leader of his home. I've taken the responsibility to be a grandfather with my grandkids, to pray with them and to teach them how to pray and how to read the scriptures. Because one day as I pour myself into them, one day they'll pour themselves into somebody else. And God can use their lives. Real important that we love them, that we care about them. When David was writing the psalmist, he wrote an incredible psalm, Psalm 127, 3-5. Listen to what he said. He says, behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. A heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. It's not a curse for a woman to have a baby on the right motives of marriage. You see? It's a reward. He says, like arrows in the hands of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth. Happy is the man who has his quiver full of them. They should not be ashamed, but shall speak with their enemies at the gate. Isn't that beautiful? David, the writer, talking about children. It's a blessing. They're a heritage to our homes, to our families. I wrote some facts down about children here. The children here were not only little, but they were excitable when they were brought to Jesus. They didn't know where they were going. The parents saw the Pharisees and the scribes and the religious leaders, and why didn't they bring to them? Because they were never receptive to children. They were hypocrites. And yet, they brought them to Jesus, and he was receptive to them. Children were brought for the purpose that Jesus would touch them, that Jesus would pray over them. And even though there were threatenings and opposition, Jesus didn't care. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is like what? In order to become a child of God, you have to become like a little child and to get into the kingdom of God. You have to become like a child to be in God's kingdom. Otherwise, you can't get in. And yet at the same time, these children, they didn't know what was going on. They were too young to know. And yet Jesus embraced them and loved them and demonstrated to the Pharisees and the scribes the love that he had for children. It's pretty cool because as you see what's going on here, the Bible is very clear about children. A child who is brought to Christ, when someone is bringing their children to Christ, what's going to happen to them? They're going to learn about love. Because that's what Christ demonstrated to these little children when they came to him. I could just see him on the ground playing with them, in their level, getting on their level. And it's really important that you understand that the main example that we have here is the Lord. The Lord is teaching the disciples. The Lord is teaching the Pharisees and the scribes.